All right, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our workshop with the Arabic Teachers Council in Washington, D.C. It's entitled Engaging Heritage Learners Through Creative Activities in the Arabic Language Classroom. And we're very lucky to have Fatima Khaled with us today. Thanks so much for being our presenter. I'm just going to do a short introduction of Fatima, and then I'm going to hand it over to her. So Fatima Khaled is head teacher of the Peace School in North London. It's a school that provides Arabic language and culture learning for more than 100 bilingual students. She obtained a PGCE from Goldsmiths, University of London in 2011, and has participated in the groundbreaking Critical Connections Multilingual Digital Storytelling Project, which is led by the university. She's passionate about her subject and is a regular contributor to professional development events for teachers of Arabic in the UK and overseas. The Peace School has received multiple awards for its work, including a British Academy Language Award in 2011 and 2012, and a European Language Award in 2013. And Fatima is also conducting doctoral research in education at the Open University. Fatima, welcome, marhaba, kulkum, and I'm going to give the floor to you. I'm just here with my wonderful student, George Washington University student, William. We're here for support with the PowerPoint and such. So welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mimi. Have you shared the PowerPoint?
I'm just about to, sorry. It's taking me 1 second.
No problem.
Here we are. Share. Okay, and everyone can do that, and I will start your PowerPoint.
Shukran jazilan, marhaba. Thank you for joining us for this evening for me and afternoon for you. I'll be talking about engaging heritage learners through creative activities in the Arabic classroom, sharing with you my experience and sharing with you what is the learner needs. So first of all, thank you, Mimi. We'll be talking about the outline of the session will be divided in two parts. First part is we'll be talking about heritage language learning, project-based language learning. Of course, it will be some group discussion in between, and the affordances of visual art as part of a project-based learning. The artist that we have used his pieces of art, and we'll be talking about the focus works and the pedagogical process. The second part will be the application of this approach in the Peace School. How did we implement the project-based learning approach? The three stages pedagogical model that we have implemented to use the dual model, a dual work between language and art. And I will share student work with you. Then I will give you the time to do a group creative work. Then we will share the implication of the students. Then we'll have time for questions. Okay, thank you, Mimi. Next. Now it's a group discussion. Of course, before I start to talk about heritage learners, I'm sure every one of you has got to share something about the term of heritage learners. What does it mean? And I want all of us to think about what is the link to foreign language learners and mother tongue language learners in relation to heritage language learners. If there is a link or there isn't, how? So I'm going to give the group 5 minutes, then we will discuss this. Then I'll start talking about what is the meaning of it. Thank you so much. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Are we in the main room?
Yes, Fatima. I think it gives people about 30 more seconds to come back to them.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. I had good great group who were talking about heritage learners, and I'd love them to share a bit of their discussion. So we'll give 2 minutes and we move on. So let's everyone, like from each group, what they can share what they have discussed. Okay, so can we have 1 or 2 from, how many groups do we have, Mimi?
I believe we had 4 groups.
Okay, so we take 2 groups for this discussion because of the timing. Okay, who can share? Yes, Sirwan, Ali, can you share your thoughts from the group that you've been with?
Yes, I was in the group room 3, I guess. We discussed question number 1. So the heritage students, we mean by those who come from Arabic family, especially those students who are surrounded by family members who have a lot of Arabic vocabulary, specifically the Amiya, but they don't know how to, produce like in Fusha, specifically in the correct way. And as far as the second question is concerned, we also discussed that both of them, have an eager to learn Arabic, but we don't know how much would be, appropriate to get them together inside one single classroom, something like that. I don't know if other, people want to share, and also Dina and Mike shared with us a great, idea.
Thank you so much for sharing your ideas. This is to the core of our discussion. Anyone else wants to?
Thank you. I think you basically summarized everything that we discussed in our group, Sirwan, Dina, and Noha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
And Noha saying we also mentioned religious heritage students, which is great. Yes, they are part of the heritage learners, although they might not speak the Arabic, but they are linked to the language in terms of the Quran, in terms of the reading part of it. So they have got some culture in connection of that. Thank you so much. That's a great discussion and a very good starting point. If we can move on to talk about the heritage learners, please. Thank you so much. So let us talk about what is the unique situation of these heritage language learners. What is unique about them? I guess that the situation might be different in different countries, but in general, heritage learners can be considered as marginalized group who are trying to balance between 2 cultures: the culture of the host, where they live in, either in UK or USA, and the culture of the home. And there is the situation that these learners are in. They are in a context where in society there is discrimination. There is a lack of recognition from mainstream schools. That's in the UK. And there is as well a lack of achievement that these heritage learners bring to the mainstream school. So if a heritage learner, for example, got A star in Arabic, mainstream school don't recognize this achievement. But if he got A star in modern language learners, the achievement looked great. So there is this issue of lack of recognition. And the achievement of their exam is often not recognized. as well. The important things that we need to understand, that these heritage schools are not there to do, they're not there to encourage this separatism when we talk about heritage schools. So they are there to help these heritage learners to develop their bilingual, multilingual, and to develop their culture, their identity, to feel positive by their identity. And when they reach that confidence in their identity, they will benefit the individual and the society as well. So there is the other thing that I want to add, that these heritage learners in their complementary schools, in their or we call them supplementary schools or outside schools, they have got issues of pedagogy. Their resources, as one of the colleagues mentioned, might come from Arabic countries, which they feel is not connected to their needs and to their interests. They have got an issue of teachers who are not professionally developed and tend to not understand this balance of two cultures, the host and the home culture. Okay, so that's, if we can move on, Mimi, please. Talking about these heritage learners who are in desperate need of a pedagogy, or desperate need of an approach that can help their needs and their interests. The appealing approach that can help the heritage learners, it's the project-based learning approach. So what is the importance of the project-based learning approach? Project-based learning approach, it is specifically relevant to heritage learners, and I will share with you why. Why is it specifically linked or relevant to the heritage language learners? Because when we look at the narrow textbook approach that tend to often be relevant to foreign language learners. If we can concentrate in this point, the foreign language learners is mainly under this approach of textbooks approach. So it's all linked to textbooks. So these approaches has failed the need to cover the need and the interest of the heritage learners. Why is that? These approaches of foreign language learners, which are mainly concentrating on the textbooks, has failed to link to the experience of the learners. The learner experience has failed to link to the existing knowledge that the learner, the heritage learner, can bring to the classroom. Heritage learners are not there to be taught how to go and buy a biscuit or a bread or a milk from the shop. This type of learning or teaching for the heritage learner is insulting. Heritage learner has got a lot to bring to the classroom. They have got a lot of experience, a lot of prior knowledge that can bring in the classroom. And they can feel demotivated as well. when we teach them the way that we teach foreign language learners. So why is that? Because the foreign language learners way, it separates the language from the culture. That's the issue. So this separation between language and culture doesn't go with the needs and the interest of the heritage language learners. Heritage language learners, they have got a culture, they have got emotions, they have got a lot of prior knowledge that they can bring to the classrooms. So we believe that project-based learning promote this active learning. It's not passive. It's not repeat after me. It's not copy what the teachers do. It's not teacher-central approach. It's a student-centered approach. It's a collaborative way of learning. And it has got this critical thinking and creativity that can come and you can bring in the classroom, where heritage learner can link it to their experience, can link it to their prior knowledge. Plus, project-based learning build this confidence that we are all after. Heritage learners need to build their confidence. And I don't know if you agree with me from my prior workshops with different languages, we agreed that heritage learners, some of them tend to feel shy to speak about their language in the mainstream schools. They feel shy to mention their culture in the mainstream schools. And they don't want to be part of this. Is all because they need to build their confidence. And supplementary or complementary schools, they are there to build this confidence in this heritage, for the heritage, and get the, for heritage learners, and get the positive identity constructed where they can benefit the society. Okay, if we can move on to talk a bit about how we link project-based learning, please. So a project-based learning, it's a broader approach, which we call macro-based approach. Let me move this from here so we can see who says it. So it's a macro-based approach in language teaching. So what do we mean by that? It's an approach that can be flexible, and that's what heritage learners needs, is this flexibility. Why do they need flexibility? I think I have heard from the discussion from one of the colleagues that says they are not all similar in their level of abilities. They are not one homogeneous group. They are different. You might find one heritage learner who just arrived from the country, one who has been here for a long time, one who has got a good reading, writing, one who has got less, and so on and so forth. They're different abilities. So the project-based learning can give them this flexibility. This project-based learning can be close to cross-curricular, to thematic approach, and to CLIL. So these are the approaches that help the heritage learner and non-heritage learner. I want to emphasize that these approaches can help non-heritage as well. And it is across boundaries where it links the culture and the language. It doesn't separate the language and the culture. Plus, it is across sites. The learning can be at home. The learning can move from the four walls of the classroom. It doesn't stop at the four walls of the classroom and the students start to repeat after what the teacher said, but it moves on to the family involvement. It moves on to the community involvement. And it is a socially engaged approach where there is a collaboration, and it leads to a participation where students tend to create something to present it to a real audiences. Okay, thank you. So we can move on. We can leave the questions after, words afterwards. So as I said, the project-based learning is all about active learning. It's all about learner agency and the dialogue. Now we want, as you can see here, there is an art pieces that we want to look at them and think, what do you think? My question to you, do you think they would be useful to teach Arabic language with? This is first question. Second question, how would you use them in an Arabic lesson? So look at them, because what I will share with you is a project-based learning, a dual approach, language and art. How can we use it? And I want to hear your views first before we move on. So what do you think? We can have like 2, 3, 4 of you to share your ideas, please. Do you think that would be useful to teach Arabic language?
Can I share?
Yeah, please.
I mean, if it's from art perspective and talk about what would art, the beauty of this having the letters. But I mean, if we are using it just to introduce letters, I don't think this is something useful for heritage learners. But I mean, to give their point of view of the beauty of the art and what is used in this art and why the Arabic alphabets that has different maybe letter styles. And, in the second one, there is some verses inside the letter. So something more deeper about the artistic viewpoint. That's my...
Amazing, amazing. So you can go easy on it, where you can appreciate, you can go about easy steps where you talk about the letters, or as you mentioned, or you can go deeper, which is very important, to look at the text and analyze it or do something about it. Okay, anyone else? Thank you so much. Was it Lina?
Yes.
Thank you, Lina. Anyone else?
Can I say something?
Please, yes, Zahid.
Yeah, so for me, the question is a little bit big and not specific. The first thing I was thinking about is which level is that? And when you talk about Arabic language, are we talking only about heritage or an Arabic language where we have all kind of students? And this is the thing we were talking in my group, that we suffer a lot as an instructors because we have like foreign students who don't have any knowledge about the language, and also the heritage students. So if you are talking about that, I think it will be more about culture. I think we can, as Lena said, I don't think this will be something useful when it comes to the teaching letters. The connection between Ba and Sad here, and there's no, we need more of work, but they can appreciate the art. We can talk about that Arabic has calligraphy and it's kind of art and different ways of writing letters and stuff. This is how I see it. But now I'm also thinking about what kind of language are we using here? Are we going to do this in English, or are we going to do it in Arabic? Because, for example, in my classes in the first year, we do a lot of culture aspects, but we do it in English or Norwegian, like something like that. But when it comes to the third year, yeah, we can talk about this in Arabic. That's the thing.
Very interesting points. That's great to share and to think about it. So how are we can use it? Do we use it bilingually? Do we use it only Arabic? How do we do we use it when you have heritage and foreign language students? That's really good point to think about it. I will share with you my experience with the heritage learners, as mentioned, as an intermediate level, who can be able to write small pieces of writing, who have got a prior knowledge, but not as an advanced level. So that's the level I'll be sharing with you. and you can adapt it with the learners you have. But culture, I believe, it's extremely important for the heritage and non-heritage. Language cannot be separated from the culture. Okay, anyone else, or should we move on? Okay, so we'll move on to see why are we thinking about visual art? Why visual art is a valuable place in language learning? What is the affordances of this? So there are generally there are many aspects of why art is valuable, but generally the ones that I'm sharing with you, which I will speak about, some of them are well recognized. So something that has struck me when looking at how students look at the piece of artwork, is one to do with the point of ambiguity. So when I say to the students, when you look at this art piece, there is no right or wrong when you interpret it. Don't worry. Whatever you interpret it with is your interpretation and has to be respected. So students bring different perspectives, and that's get the student to be inclusive. There's no one that would say in the classroom that, oh, my idea won't be accepted because I have to say the right thing. No, there is no right or wrong. So go on. And therefore, the second thing, it builds their confidence. Okay. And the young people can bring their different ideas in the classroom and no one can judge them. So this ambiguity part, which is extremely helpful to get the learner speak, interact, respect each other. The second thing that I want to share is the quality of visual art is linked to sensory, is linked to the emotions. And this is extremely important for heritage learners. And it can be for non-heritage as well. So this emotion, affective, which is emotionality, plus symbolic, is really important because it is the area of language and language learning that has been neglected very much in methods and pedagogy. So when we divide between emotions and the thinking, this is where the difficulty is when you teach the language. So language, it's about brain and emotions. It's about a holistic approach where the learner is taken as a whole, not as language can never be a coding way. You go right, you go left, repeat after me, say what I will do, and this is not the language. Language, it's a holistic approach. So it makes when we speak about the art can give these extremely important part of the learning process, it makes more sense to connect language learning to a visual art and other communicative mode that helps this approach. So now I will share with you which artist we have used and why. So the artist that we have used in the teaching of learning language Arabic and art as a project-based learning, his name is Ali Omar Ermis, and he is an international artist and thinker. He's Arab Muslim. What is special about his painting? His painting is as a letter shape of Arabic language. Every painting has got short words, poetry, and he brings the social, the political, and the moral issues. So it's up to you how much you can take it deeper. If it is beginner, or other intermediate, or other advanced. And it has got several works in the British Museum, and I believe in the USA museums as well. Here is one of his art pieces. It's Harf al-Kaf. Okay, so now we move on to look at what is the pedagogical principles that we follow in this approach. So this approach is different than the traditional approach. It's all about learner agencies. It's all about critical thinking. It's all about collaboration between learners. And the most important part I want to add to this approach is the scaffolding. You cannot throw everything in front of the learner, but we have to think carefully. How can I use this process? It's a process-based approach where you guide the learner from this painting, for example, to describe words. If we can switch off the micro, please. Nora, thank you. So it's all about, before I move on, there is, as you can see on the left-hand side, there is a link to a resource pack, which has got a fully explained way of this pedagogical approach. I don't know, I have sent some links. If one of you have seen them, you would see this pedagogical principle well explained, but I am trying to get you to explain why do we use this and how do we use it. So the scaffolding approach, it's because we use dual focus, a focus on language and appreciation of art. We are not teaching them to do art. We are helping the student to appreciate art and to use the language through it. I'm not an artist, but I start to appreciate art, how this art can bring my students out of their comfort zone. So it's developing the linguistic knowledge, that is what is important, and appreciate the art design. That's the dual approach, which is embedded in project-based learning. And it is flexible to cater for intermediate and advanced level in schools and other contexts. Okay, if we can move on to how do we use it then? Okay, so I have got an art in front of me. So there is phases to use this scaffolding. You cannot straight away go to the art and boom, this is, we are studying this. So we have created pedagogical phases where we can follow and can help us to help these learners move from one stage to another stage. So the first stage we go when we see the artwork, we call it approaching. When we approach this artwork, we ask the student to brainstorm, discuss. I will share with you the practical side in the second phase when we talk about the school. So it's only giving you now the general view, how you would understand it. So approaching, we brainstorm with the student, we do discussion pair group or group discussion. We introduce keywords in relation to the art, and the most important part, and it links to the student's personal life, not only the art, how you would see it, how you do, how can you match it to yourself? Is it linked to yourself? What can remember, what this art can remind you of? So that's the approaching. Then exploring. So we do some research. We go deeper sometimes. We go to the text of the art. We connect, we compare, we analyze, and we start to develop language, knowledge, and skills gradually with scaffolding and with planning, which I will mention later. Then we go to the stage of creating. So the students start to reimagine the work in relation to his personal life, remediate the work, and represent, which is this presentation. We tend to make sure it is in front of real audiences to help the student be motivated, because he knows or she knows that she will present it in front of the group. Okay, so if we can move on to the when we implement this, why do we implement these approaches? Because this 3 stages of pedagogy, approaching, exploring, creating, it helps the learner to be active. It's where the learner, it won't be passive anymore. He will bring his personal experience and interest. It's a focus between the language and the appreciation of art, and it's a scaffolding building element, because with the project-based learning, with the active learners, with the student, where they become the leader of the learning, there is a constructions of knowledge. Knowledge is not from me to them. They construct it, and this construction needs my effort, needs my guide towards the scaffolding and towards planning. And when I say that, when in the link that I have provided with the references, you will find a clear explanation about the scaffolding of the dual context and the planning of this dual context between language and other content, either art or geography or history or any other content that you want to use to help the learners be more active and be more working in collaboration. This is a very important. They work together. They don't work individually, and they work inside the classroom, outside the classroom, home and offline and online. They will go into technology, and they progress their 4 skills: reading, writing, speaking, critical thinking, and working as a team and thinking outside the box. And they will progress towards a creative outcome. The creative outcome that I will share with you, all my students, through this, the use of art, this progression of languages, they create our ending goal. Although it's a process, I cannot emphasize that it's not an ending or the beginning. It's from the beginning, the student tend to progress, and each student progress in different way. And each student bring to the classroom something new, and they progress to create a film, which we call it multilingual digital storytelling, which I will share with you. So this a progression to create an outcome motivates them, and the film has to be presented in front of real audiences, parents, universities, and online. Okay, so if we can move on, please. Okay, so now, great. Before we move on to the time break, is there any question in relation to the pedagogy, the 3 stages? And then we will move on to the practical side of it, where you will be part of the scaffolding. You will be integrating, practicing this approach. So any question? So do you want to go? Yeah,
yes.
go ahead.
Okay, I'm okay. Could
Yeah,
I ask you some questions? And I wish if my English, good, you can understand me.
very well, Huda.
Okay, shukran.
عفواً.
Okay, so that means your curriculums or this approach already based on the arts, kinds of arts. What about if some students don't care about this? Not like this arts or something like that. How you will deal with them to engage in your class? And if it's right, that means every class, every skill will be based on art. That means every time I will make about calligraphy, about pottery, about stories or something like that, or I can't make like vision about this. That means every class, every skill, it will discuss this, just arts. So I will teach the language by arts, or I will teach arts by language. You understand me?
Okay. Okay, so it's this is the art is not the focus. We are trying to get the student to think, to collaborate, to work as a team, to get them to personalize their learning, to bring their learning which is linked to their personal life. So the art is like a stimuli for the students. They get to think about their lives, their experiences, but it doesn't happen like straightforward. I will share with you, Huda, the stages that we did in the classroom. Then you might have another view at the end of the session. So maybe it's not fully, the picture is not fully by this timing, but when I share with you and ask you questions and tell you how you can approach the student. And this is one aspect, Huda. It doesn't have to be always art. The project-based learning, for my what I will share with you is I've used art. I've used a theme. Before art, I was using thematic approach, where can I talk about a theme of environment. So it didn't have that art at that time. And the students start to search, to explore, and we created a film out of that. So that's I'm giving you the idea where you can start from. And I'm giving you the aspect of the heritage learners and their needs and their interest. To get them interested, you cannot follow the foreign language approach. You cannot follow the text approach, the traditional approach. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome, Huda. So you can change. So it's only, I want to give you like flavors of ideas. Okay, sorry. لوحة الصاد here, and students have used, this is the work of the student. Sorry, I'm not the host. If you can point of other لوحات of Saad, please, Mimi. This is a work of the student with his story. And this is a work of another student. As you can see, he looked at the Saad and he thought of a ship that has linked him to his personal life. And if we look at the Saad, the student has, if we can move on to the next slide, please. So this is different work of the student that I want to share with you. So looking at the Saad, I want you to look at it. And this is the approaching phase that I do with my students. Okay. It's an individual work for 2 minutes. I want you to look at it. Now, this is the question that I would give to my student. And these questions, this activities, the work of Ali Omar Mis is in this resource pack. If you go to this link, you will find the whole book with different art pieces, and each art piece has got different activities that has got the progression to help the student learn the language and appreciate this dual context. Now I will ask you, أسألكم هذا السؤال الذي سألته لطلابي. تمعن في لوحة الصاد وناقش ما يلي. ما الذي يشد انتباهك في هذا العمل الفني؟ هل رأيت شيئا مشابها من قبل؟ أعطي أمثلة على ذلك. Now I'm giving you 1 minute to think. Then please you can share with the group. So I'm giving you examples how this works. Okay, anyone, please? So I should give you 1 minute, sorry. Think.
Can I say something? Do we have
Please,
more time?
Zahid.
Yeah,
please.
So
No.
when I see when I saw this picture of the sod, the thing that drew my attention was mainly what's written inside the letter in different places, like the one in the white here and the other thing. So I was just thinking, I'll try actually to read. It's very small, but I would, if I have this in my hand, I would just try to understand or read what's written there. And this is what actually took my attention.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I haven't seen something similar to this. It's very artistic. I like it actually.
Okay, thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Zahid. Anyone else, please? So that would be the answer of the students. And the great thing about this, there is no right or wrong. You tell them, great, this is what I want to hear. There is no right or wrong. That's the confident build. Yes, Huda? ممكن
when
تحكي
I see
بالعربي. ممكن
ممكن
تحكي
اوكي
بالعربي.
كويس.
نعم.
انا لما شفت ويعني حطيت لنفسي مكان الطالب، بس طبعا كان يعني في صورتين، صورة للصاد كاملة وفي صورة لراس الصاد وفي جواها كتابة ونور وضوء. انا دماغي مباشرة او ذهني مباشرة راح لحاجة عربية جدا، مش عارفة هتكون موجودة عند الطالب ولا لا. ده شكل الخيمة العربية اللي موجودة عندنا وجواها ضوء.
الله أكبر.
فأنا مش عارفة الطالب ممكن هل الطالب فعلا يعني يكون عنده الثقافة دي أو الكلمة المفردة دي، أو فأنا لو مكان طالب وعنده المفردة أو الصورة بس منفصلة مش الصاد كاملة، فأنا دماغي مباشرة راحت الخيمة العربية. فمش عارفة.
رائع. I learned something new. الله أكبر. Amazing. I love it. I will take it. والله.
حلوة الثقة دي يا فاطمة. حلوة انت كده بتشجعي الطلاب جدا، يعني أنا كده طالبة بتشجع.
Because I love to see this new aspect of thinking. This is amazing. مثلا أنا مدرسة، لو أنا أقود العمل التعليمية مستحيل أعطيه للطالب هذه الأشياء، لكن لو هو أعطيته الثقة في نفسه خلاص يبدأ يطلع يعطيني حاجات أنا أتعلم معاه. فأنا تعلمت فعلا كأنها خيمة عربية. And that would lead you سوف تأخذك to the culture. You can take the student to think about the culture of the Arab. So that's how it works. Amazing والله يا Huda. I'm so happy. Anyone else? Let us get other aspects.
أنا ممكن أشارك.
تفضل.
مرحبا. شكرا. اسمي نورة. So I see it, or I always share with my students that sod looks like a balloon, and then this is the tail or the rest of the kite. So you can think of it as a kite أو بالون. كمان بشوف الصاد like العين اللي بجوا الصاد حلوة، ممكن الواحد يفهم.
نعم، هكذا ذكرها طلابي، عين فعلا.
شكرا.
ما شاء الله ما شاء الله. Amazing. So it's a balloon. It reminds me of a balloon. That student يقول لك هذه تذكرني بكرة ولها ذيل. طيب هل لفت انتباهكم اللون؟ هل شد انتباهكم اللون؟ هل فكرتم في اللون؟ وما الذي يوحيه إليكم؟ Now I'm tapping into your emotions if you can see.
انا بس عايز اقول ان انا got inspired بكل الحاجات الجميله دي، وبدات ابص بزاويه مختلفه تماما. يعني نسيت الصاد. فحضرتك كمان لما اتكلمتي ممكن اتكلم عربي عادي صح؟ او
ممتاز، تفضل.
يا ريت يا زهاد.
اوكي طيب عفوا اهلا وسهلا. يعني حضرتك لما اتكلمتي عن اللون، اولا فكره العين والخيمه رائعين جدا، بس كمان يعني الراس بتاعت الصاد دلوقتي انا بقيت شايف علاقه اللون الاسود باللون الابيض، وكانه كانه انا ببص في حاجه كده زي صوره بالليل، كانه انا بالليل وفي هذا الجزء المضيء. يعني انا عايش في هذه الحاله ان دي مش صاد خالص، لكن ده نافذه في ليله ما، وفي هذا الشيء الابيض اللي من بعيد اللي ممكن يكون اشياء كثيره منها خيمه مثلا باللون الابيض او مبنى مضيء في الافق. يعني انا شايف حاليا يعني.
This is amazing. Wallah, I cannot believe what I can hear. This is exactly when you push the button to the students and tell them, imagine, get your imagination out, think, go outside the box, don't look at it outside only. خلاص يبقى يفكر بأن هذه خيمة، هذه ثقافة، هذا ليل. There's a darkness inside, there's a light. And surprisingly, subhanallah, what you've just said, this is what the students thought of it. They called it darkness and light. And from this title, students start to think in a broader aspect. What is لأن داخل الصاد في شيء أبيض، في إضاءة، في أمل، في شيء خارج الصاد كله داكن. الصاد بنية. It's brown, it's dark, it's depressing, but there is some light inside. And they start to think about this hope. And that's how they start to link it to their personal stories. Okay, I'm so impressed والله.
أعتقد برضو بالكلام ده ممكن لو في مستوى أعلى شوية بيتكلموا فيه عن قضايا سياسية أو المجتمع والإحساس بالظلم والعدالة يعني والمشاكل اللي بتحصل حاليا، ونفسهم إن يبقى الأكثر هو العدل أو الحرية والتعبير عن الرأي. وإن أوكي
I cannot say more. Wallah, it's extremely exactly that's what we are trying to do. Get them to link it to their personal needs and interests. العدالة، الظلم، لكن فيه بصيص من الإضاءة. And going deeper, if we can go to this بصيص من الإضاءة, it's we had to.
Can I say something also about the light and everything? That we can this thing, the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes. Light under the tunnel. So somebody he's مشبك في حياة في مشاكله، لكن دائم فيه he is in a tunnel. He doesn't know where to go, but there is a light there that can help him. And that's exactly what my student, as an intermediate student, looked at it. They said, this is depressing. This is gloomy, but there is something white inside. And we start to go deeper. Okay, if we can go to the next, please, Mimi. Now, as Nora said before, I said it's a graduation, it's a scaffolding way. And this phase is thinking to explore. Learners developing their appreciation of the artwork, at the same time extend linguistic understanding and skills. الآن سؤالي للطلاب: اختر من الكلمات أدناه المفردات التي تصف هذه اللوحة. علل، انتبهوا هنا، علل. It means the learner aspect, not mine. اختيارك لهذه الكلمات. وبعدها شارك أفكارك بقية الفصل. عندك هذه اللوحة مفردات مختلفة، ثم عندك مفردات بسيط، مفرح، ساطع، مظلم، كئيب، ممل، حزين، تحكي قصة، وسبحان الله ذكرتم ذلك، ممكن ألوان متكاملة، معقد. طيب ممكن تختارون أنتم وتعللون ثم تشاركوننا لو سمحتم. أي واحد؟ اختيار كلمات. اوكي، من يشارك؟ عندنا ما شاء الله. Okay, like the soil and clay. Somebody saying مفرح. Okay, yeah, you're writing. Sorry. مفرح. طيب حزين.
معقد.
Okay. معقد. طيب علل ذلك.
يا سلام. انا كده اتزنقت بقى.
هات متقدم وانت طالع يا زهيد.
ايوه، ما انا بقى لازم اشتغل على ده. يعني الفكره ان الصوره، التعقيد اللي انا قصدته بمعنى انه فيها تفاصيل كتير. ده اللي انا قصدته، ان هي ممكن يكون ليها معاني كتيره، وان في حاله من حالات التداخل. يعني انا بشوف الصاد هنا جزئين، الجزء اللي هو الراس بتاعه الصاد، والجزء الثاني اللي هو الديل بتاعه الصاد، وكل حاجه فيهم فيها كلام. يعني الالوان مختلفه زي ما اتكلمنا عن الالوان، كمان اكيد في قصه بتحكيها الكلمات او السياق او التكست اللي هو موجود سواء داخل الصاد او داخل الديل بتاعها. فلذلك انا اعتقد انه معقد يعني.
ممتاز، بارك الله فيك، رائع صراحة. أنا أتعلم معكم والله. فعلا هذه نظرتك. و as we said from the beginning، لا يوجد في استخدام هذا الشيء المتميز في الفن لا يوجد صح وخطأ، وكل الأفكار تؤخذ بعين الاعتبار ثم تتطور يعني. ممتاز. أي مداخلة أخرى؟
أنا بختار تحكي قصة.
ممتاز. سروان، تعليلك كذلك؟
بالنسبة لي إنه يعني صورة الصاد واللون، لونها أو اللون الداكن والباك جراوند والخلفية تحكي قصة تطور اللغة العربية وعلاقتها بالثقافة الإسلامية، وكذلك بالمواد التعليمية التي كانت تدرس من قبل فقهاء وعلماء في العصور السابقة، وكيف أنها كانت الأوراق يعني نوعا ما لها لون داكن، اللون مظلم نوعا ما. كيف كانت أن هذه أو الصاد عبارة عن مجموعة كبيرة من المفردات والعلوم، معاني وعبارات يعني تعكس أمهات الكتب الإسلامية والعربية.
رائع رائع. لا أستطيع أن أضيف شيء ثاني إلا أن أقول رائعا. ونلاحظ، لو تلاحظون، بأن الآن أصبح كل واحد فينا يربط ما يراه إلى ما يناسبه وما يتعلق بحاجياته، his interest. يعني من قبل ذكر بأنها فيه نفق لكن فيه أمل. فلو طلبت من الطالب أنه يطور هذه الفكرة ويكتب قصة عنها، لأن هو الذي أدرج هذه الفكرة أو ما ذكره الآن عن اللغة العربية، هذا شيء من عنده وليس من عندي، وبالتالي يستطيع الطالب أن يتعمق في شيء هو الذي تحدث فيه، هو الذي استخلصه. نعم.
أنا عايز أقول لحضرتك على حاجة. أنا بستخدم صور كتير جدا في تفعيل المفردات مع طلابي، لكن في المستوى ده، المستوى الانترميديت هاي والادفانس، يعني اللغة بتميل أكثر للتجرد. فيعني فمش محتاج، مش هلاقي صورة تمثل معنى مثلا كالعدل أو الفساد إلا إذا كان كاريكاتير يعني، وده ممكن يكون مش سهل. بس عجبتني فكرة، وأعتقد إن دي حاجة أنا اتعلمتها النهاردة، إنه استخدام النوع من انواع هذا الفن المجرد ده ممكن يغني كتير من النقاش، لان كمان انا لاحظت ان انواع الاسئله بتستهدف وظائف لغويه. انا بفكر دايما الوظائف اللغويه اللي انا بستهدفها، يعني في وصف، في سرد، في مقارنه، ربما في مناقشه، في اخذ وعطاء، في ابداء راي. فدي كلها وظائف مناسبه جدا للانترميديت هاي والادفانس لو. بس كنت عايز اسال حضرتك لما اتكلمتي او لما بتتكلمي عن الانترميديت والادفانس، هل احنا بنتكلم عن الاكتفل جايد لاينز ولا عن اليوروبيان فريم ورك، ولا على اي اساس حضرتك يعني بتشوفي الطلاب في هذا المستوى او ذاك المستوى؟
ممتاز، سؤال رائع. طبعا it's a European framework, but at the end of the day it's knowing how much skills do they have in terms of writing, reading, speaking, listening. So I judge their intermediate that they know how to write, but they are limited in terms of adding their their emotions, for example. Their connectives are maybe sometimes limited. So that's why I call them intermediate, but according to the European framework. So that's how we know. Okay, so can we move on, please? That's a very interesting discussion. I'm so proud and happy as well. Now, the second exploring question that I would do to my students, I put حرف الصاد في الوسط. Then let them think about المحتوى, الشكل, المزاج. And I think you all said that. المزاج فيه نوع من الحزن، فيه نوع من الأمل. ما هي الخطوات التي في نظركم قام بها الفنان؟ فهذه الطريقة أعرضها على طلابي، وهذا يسمى هيكل التفكير والنقاش في أعمال الفنان. ثم أطلب من الطلاب في عمل جماعي يأخذون، أعطي هذه الشكل للطلاب، أوزعها عليهم، ثم أعطيهم فرصة أنهم يتناقشون فيما بينهم بعدما أنهم تذكروا بعض المفردات إلى غير ذلك، ينظروا إلى المحتوى، إلى الشكل، وأقبل كل ما يجيبون به، يعني انطلاقاتهم ما يذكرونه، ثم ننتقل. هذا ممكن this is a second exploring activity، لأننا ذكرنا واحدة، هذا فقط أعطيها لكم كنموذج، ثم ننتقل لكي نرى قضية الإبداع أو creativity. If you can move on, before we move on, this link, please, I repeat, this link is the link of the Arabic source, which you'll find the book and all the artwork with all the activities, different artworks. Okay, if we can move on.
أستاذة فاطمة عفوا، before we move on، أنا بس مش فاهم التاسك 100%. يعني
رجع، if we can go back please.
يعني اوكي، المحتوى ده نسبي على ما اعتقد ممكن يشتغلوا فيه. المزاج يعني الحاله النفسيه، هل هم هيعبروا عن ده بجمل، هيعبروا عن ده بمفردات؟ بس ايه المقصود بالخطوات وايه المقصود بالشكل كمان؟ يعني الفرق بين الشكل والمحتوى يعني.
ممتاز، اشكرك على هذا السؤال. طبعا سؤالك بالنسبه كيف سوف يعبرون، هل في مفردات، هل في جمله؟ لهذا قلنا هذه الطريقه تتناسب مع جميع المستويات، ونحن نعرف أن الهيريتج ليرنرز ليس كلهم في نفس المستوى. فمن يعبر طبعا هم في عمل جماعي، من يعبر بمفرد نتركه يعبر بكلمات مفردات، ومن يعبر بجملة نساعده على أنه، لأنني أنا أمر عليهم، فأقبل منهم أي طريقة يعبرون بها، سواء مفردات، سواء جمل، سواء إذا كانوا يريدون جمل ولكن مستواهم ليس متقدما في جملة بروابطها باللغة العربية، ممكن يكتب شوية إنجليزي، ليس مشكل، فأنا أخذ هذه ثم أطورها. بالنسبة للمزاج، مزاج كما قلنا بأنه هل هو في حزن، هل هو داكن، هل هو المحتوى. ماذا رأيك في المحتوى؟ المحتوى يحتوي، أن أرى مثل ما قلت من قبل، أراه لأنني هدفي بأنه يكتب الطالب. لا يهم أن يعرف ما في المحتوى. أرى بأنه يوجد نص، هذا النص موجود في وسط جهة الصاد التي شكلها مثل العين، فهو الآن يكتب، ولكن أنا التي جعلته يكتب بهذه الأسئلة. الآن الشكل، ما شكل الصاد؟ شكلها أي إجابة تقبل، ليس عندي صحيح أو خطأ. مثلا أنا لو سألتك الآن ما شكل الصاد، ما هو ردك؟
يعني نفق مثلا،
شكلها
أو
مثل النفق.
مثل النفق أو مثلا.
ممتاز. شكلها مثل العين، شكلها مثل الخيمة، شكلها مثل الصحن. يعني لا يوجد صح وخطأ، هذا الشيء المتميز في هذه الطريقة. رأيك في الخطوات؟ الخطوات أرى وكأن ممكن الفنان عمل الصاد أخذت منه يومين، ممكن واحد يقول لك لا، أظنها كانت سريعة، لأن فيها خطوط. أي إجابة يقولها الطالب، أي إجابة يكتبها الطالب فهي مقبولة. هذا الذي يجعل الطالب يبني ثقته ويتحدث بما يراه وبما هو عنده من سليقة من المفردات وبما هو عنده من خلفية، يراها نفق، يراها خيمة، يراها بشكل كذا، شكلها تذكرني الحياة العربية التي من قبل، وكيف أنها تغيرت مثل ما قال أحد الأساتذة إلى غير ذلك. لا يوجد صح وخطأ، وهذه أعطيها أنا بالعربي وأعطيها لهم بالإنجليزي. هذا الذي أقوم به في الفصل، لأن مرات ما يعرفوش شو معنى المزاج، الخطوات، the process of doing the art, the content، وهكذا. إذن
أنا ممكن سؤال، أسفة.
تفضلي.
أو لو تحبي تخليه في الآخر خلاص تمام، مفيش مشكلة.
إذا متعلق بهذه ممتاز، لكن إذا كان عام نتركه في الأخير. متعلق بهذا
هو يعني إلى حد ما متعلق بيها، يعني زي ما حضرتك بتقولي، لو الطالب مش عارف الكلمة وأنا هقولها له، طب إحنا دلوقتي وبنسمح باختلاف الإنتاج أيا كان نوع الإنتاج، فده معناه إن في طالب ده معناه إن في طالب عنده معرفة لغوية أعلى من التاني، وبالتالي هيظهر عندنا مفردات أو إنتاج لغوي غير مفهوم للجميع. فإزاي الأستاذ هيسيطر على ده؟ يعني إزاي هيوصل كل المعلومات اللي بيقولها كل الطلاب لكل الطلاب؟ ازاي هيبتدي يوضح كل مفردة غير مفهومة عند طالب لبقية الطلاب وهكذا؟ فحاسة يعني الموضوع محتاج يعني تعليمات أدق أو تحديد للمتوقع أو لنوع المفردات، لأن كده هيبقى كل واحد بيقول كلمة والتاني مش فاهمها، يعني التاني مش هيبقى فاهم، فحاسة إن هيبقى فيه تشتيت وعدم يعني مستويات مختلفة، فكده ده ممكن يعطل سير الصف.
أولا العمل سوف يكون جماعي. ثانيا الطلاب لابد أن يعرضوا عملهم على بقية الطلاب، والمفردات التي يكتبها الطالب والتي يشاركها الطالب تكتب على السبورة. فأنا هدفي من هذا العمل أن الطالب يعبر عن محتويات اللوحة. فهذا التعبير سوف أتركه كتابي. أريده لا تنسي بأن إحنا في مرحلة الاستكشاف هدى، فأنا أريد أن أجعل الطالب يستخدم مفرداته في مرحلة الاستكشاف، ثم ينقلها إلى الصف، ثم أضعها على السبورة، حتى إذا في شيء غامض، إذا شيء مش واضح، إذا شيء كذا، المدرس يتدخل ويشارك الطلاب في الأشياء الغير الواضحة. يعني الهدف أوسع من أنني يعني أنا جربت طبعا هذه الطريقة، لا تسبب فوضى في الفصل، بل بالعكس تجد الطلاب يتعاملون مع بعض، يساعدون بعض، ثم ينقلونها إلى بقية الطلاب، ثم تنقل على السبورة، ونستخلص كل المفردات التي أعطاها الطلاب، بحيث يبدأ بأن الطالب من عنده تنتقل العملية التعليمية من عندي إلى عند الطالب، وهكذا نبدأ في تكوين which we call construct the knowledge. يبدأ في تكوين العلم، تكوين المعلومة من الطالب إلى الفصل كله. في شيء ثاني ممكن ننتقل؟ Can we go to the next one? So the creating phase. طبعا أنا هذا الدرس فيه كثير أنشطة أساتذتنا، لكن أنا استخلصت فقط حتى تكون عندكم الفكرة، وبعدين أنا أشارككم ماذا عمل الطلاب، ثم ماذا أنتج الطلاب من فيلم متعلق بمفهومهم وتحليلهم للوحة. طيب الآن مطلوب انظروا إلى لوحة الصاد وناقشوا ما يربطكم شخصيا بهذه اللوحة. وهنا طبعا بالنسبة لهذا خاص بالمدرسين، قد يختار الطالب اسم طعام، حيوان، مكان خاص، أو أغنية أو فيلم أو أي شيء آخر. أدخل كل الكلمات التي ربطتها بحياتك الشخصية في جمل. هنا ينتقل الطالب أنه يبدأ في كتابة جمل متعلقة بما يربطه باللوحة، وبعدها ننتقل إلى كتابة القصص بعد هذه. إذن السؤال مطروح لكم، ممكن إدخال ربط هذه اللوحة بحياتك الشخصية، بما يربطك بحياتك الشخصية، ثم إدخالها في جملة. ممكن كل واحد يعطي شيء متعلق به ويدخله في جملة لو سمحت. أظن من قبل you have already started to think about personalize it to your experience and personal life.
اوكي، ممكن اقول حاجه حضرتك؟
طبعا شكرا، تفضل.
It's funny، ولكن الحرف الصاد بمرتفعاته ومنخفضاته بتفكرني بحياتي جدا، يعني فوق شويه تحت شويه، فوق شويه تحت شويه، وهكذا.
هذا
وبعدين
ممتاز.
النور في اخر النفق.
والنور في آخر. طيب ممكن تعطينا جملة؟ روعة والله، كل مرة أتعلم شيء جديد عندما أستخدم هذه المناقشات.
الفكرة أنا مش فاكر كل الكلمات، بس يعني أعتقد كان في تحكي قصة، أعتقد صح؟
لا هنا خلاص تلك المفردات خرجنا منها، الآن تبقى أنت ومفرداتك الخاصة. الآن أنت تطور في you are constructing your knowledge. So even let us imagine that اللي معاك ما يعرفش عربي. So it doesn't matter. He can say it in English and he start to do the translation, because translation, even though I didn't mention it, it's part of the scaffolding. يعني لا نتجاهلها، هي درجة من عملية التدرج. لكن إحنا نحكي عربي، ممكن نتكلم نجعل الجملة بالعربي نكتبها يعني.
اوكي.
تفضل.
لو حضرتك السؤال بخصوص فيلم او اغنيه
نعم
فكرني. اوكي، الحرف ده بالحاله دي بالالوان، بهذا التداخل بين الثلاث الوان الموجودين في الصوره، بيفكرني قوي باغنيه غدا القاك لام كلثوم.
الله،
دي اول حاجه فكرت فيها. نعم، دي اول حاجه فكرت فيها، لانه حضرتك طبعا اكيد عارفه الاغنيه. يعني في حاله من حالات الغموض، في حاله من حالات عدم اليقين، في حاله من حالات عدم المعرفه، وده الاحساس اللي واصلني دلوقتي. مش عارف اذا كان ده صح ولا لا، بس ده الاحساس اللي حاسه يعني.
لا يوجد خطأ، لا يوجد خطأ ابدا.
نعم.
فكلامك صحيح ويحترم ويقدر، ومشاعرك لابد ان تكون جزء من العملية التعليمية.
صحيح، لأنه انطباع شخصي.
أنت بالضبط. فلأن لما يدخل اللغة تدخل فيها المشاعر تبقى شيء حي، الطالب يستطيع أن يأخذه إلى أقصى درجات من الكتابة. فتفكرك بأغنية أم كلثوم لأن فيها الغموض، لأن كذا. ممكن بعدها تكتب قصة حول ذلك، لا نعرف، أو حول حياتك،
أو ممكن أغنيها،
أو ممكن تغنيها. هذا شيء رائع والله، ممتاز. لا أستطيع أن صراحة أجد عبارات تبين مدى سعادتي بهذه التحاليل واستفادتي أيضا.
ممكن أشارك؟
طبعا نحن هنا لكي نشارك. تفضل.
بالنسبة لي اليوم، بما أنه كنت يعني في مجلس عزاء، يعني لا أعرف لماذا يعني رأسا بادر إلى ذهني عبارة الشهيرة صدق الله العظيم.
سبحان الله سبحان الله. رأيتم
حرف
هذا الذي نريده. نعم تفضل. نعم سروان، يعني على طول لأنه كان في
يعني بالنسبة لي إنه العبارة الشهيرة يعني حرف الصاد يعني يمثل لي يعني هذه المقولة أو العبارة الشهيرة. نعم. يعني اللي نعرفها وتعلمنا صدق الله العظيم يعني.
سبحان الله. وربطتها لأنك كنت في موقف معين. نعم. وهذا الذي نريده من الأستاذ، أن يجعل العملية التعليمية مرتبطة بالطالب، ليس مرتبطة بالكتاب. فالارتباط بالكتاب يجعل الطالب ينطفئ، لكن لما يرتبطها بحياته الشخصية، وهذه الطرق تجعلك، لابد أن نفكر في طرق تجعلنا نترك الطالب يفكر بهذا التفكير. ممتاز. أي مداخلة أخرى لو سمحتم؟ جثة نثر رخص، صبر مفتاح الفرج. ممتاز، لكن لم أفهم جثة.
لا، كنت عم بحاول أطبع بالعربي وكنت حاطة على الإنجليزي أو العكس بالإنجليزي.
شكرا. إذن
عفوا.
تفضلي، ماذا تريد أن تقولي؟
لا، كنت بدي أحكي يعني هذا إلهام كان من زهاد وسروان. تذكرت الصبر مفتاح الفرج، وتهيأ لي هلا الصاد أزم كي يعني مفتاح
الصبر. ما شاء الله، روعة. الصبر مفتاح الفرج، يعني ممكن تكون مقولة وبعدين يأخذها الطالب ويجعلها عنوان ويكتب منها قصة. وسوف أشارككم ماذا عمل طلابي عن هذه اللوحة. ننتقل إن شاء الله. Can we move on, Mimi, please? Okay. Here, another aspect of creating something of your own. Now, I'm going deeper. So here, I don't know if you can see the white aspect، الجهة البيضاء أو الفاتحة، عبارة عن مقولة تقول، يكتبها علي عمر ميس، يقول فيها أن 3 أحباب: حب علاقة، وحب تملاق، وحب هو القتل. So what I did with my student, I went deeper in the artwork, and I took, because my students, remember, are intermediate, I couldn't go to the side where the Dale has got the big text. I took the small text because I knew this will help my students and this would progress my students. So we looked at the meaning of ثلاث أحباب, and I've asked them this question, which I will ask you. الأبيات الشعرية للوحة الصاد الموجودة في الجزء الأيمن من الحرف تتحدث أنواع مختلفة من الحب، مثل حب العائلة، وحب المجتمع، وحب الوطن، وحب الرومانسي، والنفاق. ما أنواع الحب الأخرى التي تعرفها؟ أذكر 3 منها. I would ask you فقط ذكر واحد، ثم انتقلنا إلى كتابة القصة. بعد ما الطالب في عمل جماعي نتكلم عن أنواع ونشرح ما هي الأنواع التي ذكرها علي عمر ميس الموجودة في الداخل، نطلب من الطالب يكتب قصة. الآن سؤالي إليكم: ما هي أنواع الحب الأخرى التي ممكن تذكرونها؟ أكيد تعرفون كثير. تريدون تذكرون 1 فلا بأس، 3 فلا بأس، 2 ليس مشكلة. تفضل.
حب الله ورسوله.
الله أكبر. حب الله ورسوله. حب الأبناء من طرف نورة، صح؟ حب الأبناء. كتبت حب الله ورسوله رائع. حب الامتلاك، هل حب الامتلاك يدخل في حب علاقة أم حب تملاق أم حبه هو القتل؟ حب الامتلاك هذا. حب النفس رائع. حب العطاء ما شاء الله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. ثم نذكر من الطلاب أن يضعون هذه في جملة وبعدها ننتقل إلى كتابة القصة. So this is now the student. لو تبدوا معي تنتبهوا معي من الخطوات. لقد I stimulate الدم، جعلت لوحة تخرج الأشياء التي في داخلهم من مشاعر، من أمثلة، من مفردات. ثم دخلت إلى الداخل وتكلمت عن هذا أنواع الحب. ثم تكلمنا على ما هي الأشياء التي يعرفها الطالب. ثم ذكرنا كتابة القصة. وفي بعض الأنشطة طبعا لم أذكرها لكم لضيق الوقت، ممكن تنظرونها في الكتاب الذي يحتوي على كل هذه استخدام الفن عن طريق اللغة العربية عن طريق الفن. So you can go back to the resource. حب العطاء روعة. So if you can move on. شكرا جزيلا. Now what we did in the activity you will see, we linked it to the love of عنترة and عبلة. وخلينا الطلاب يسمعونا، درنا نشاط سمعي بحيث الطالب يسمع قصة عنترة وعبلة وينظر فيديو أيضا ويرتب القصة بطريقة ربط الصورة مع السماع، ربط الصورة مع الجمل، يعني أنشطة مختلفة. ممكن you can see it in the resource pack, but I only wanted to show you here that what we did, we linked it to Antara and Abla, and this way of approach is linked to their studying in the mainstream schools where they study about Romeo and Juliet. And we thought we start to talk about the culture of the Arab at that time, and we expand it more and more in a graduation way, in a scaffolding way. Okay, الآن بعدها okay, next please. So I will share with you what the student did. Here, my student, I called her Kay. This is the art of Ali Omar Miss. So she drew a poster. That's the dual focus. There is an appreciation. The art has helped her to write a story about the love of parents. And as you can see here, she drew the darkness around and the love of parents. This white is linked to the white-eyed as symbolized the hope. And she wrote her story in the letter shape like the cup, which relates to family love. And this is in this blue square. You can see this is what she has written. I've translated it for you to read, but we don't have enough time. So the second one, please. We move on, please. Now this is another student who he developed his idea about the Sad. He looked at it as a shape, and as I said, they called the title Darkness and Light, and the student developed appreciation of visual textual elements, and he reimagined. As I said, creativity is reimagine, recreate, not copy and paste like the traditional way of teaching. And he called it the ship of rescue, where he mentioned in the white shape of the Sad, this is how parents has helped him. And this child, he lived a trauma when he was young. He got bitten by a dog, and here in the ship is the difficulty that he had when he got bitten, and he had to go through therapy when he was young, and that's what the hope that he had. He went above this difficulties, and he became better. And if we go next, I think I'm sharing another one. Yes. No, I'm only here saying what the student said about this approach of using the SAD and the stimuli of the learning. She said that everyone can relate to it, and I think you have seen it. We all related to it, as you did now. And she said, no matter what age you are. And she said it's personal connection that helps us to give her to bring her personal experience to the art. This is what she wrote. She said, it was based on a family love, which I had to link it to my personal life, and I feel that really made it my own. And this ownership of the learning that we are after, the student feel that he own his learning and his constructive knowledge. Okay, so if we can move on, please. Okay, here, as I wanted to share, can you see this, the bottom side? This is the storyboard. They made it on a side because every student wrote a story, then they had to vote on stories that can become a film. So the story that got chosen is the story of the child that got bitten by a dog. The SAD made him think about his life. And another story of a student who failed her, in UK, we call it GCSE, which is, I think you call it grade 10, her exams. But the hope that she had, her teacher helped her immensely to go back and redo the exam, and she linked it to her difficulties in her exams, and the two stories got merged and they created a film. So they drew the SAD. The middle of the SAD is all the hope they had, and the cup is the difficulties. And you can see here, a child is thinking. There are a lot of, and here there's a dog that the story speaks about, and it's all surrounded by SAD. If we can move on, I can share with you the film that student has created. So they called it قصة الأمل. Here he's calling his friend because they have got exams. As I said, he didn't do well in the exam. Oh, it's working.
Oh, you can hear it?
Yeah.
من هذا الذي يتصل؟
Okay.
مرحبا أحمد، ماذا تريد؟ محمد.
Oh, it comes and go.
محمد، لماذا أنت مسرع؟
لدي امتحان بعد نصف ساعة.
إن شاء الله بالتوفيق.
متأخر كثيرا، يجب أن أذهب من الطريق إلى الحديقة.
عندما خرج محمد من المنزل رآه كلبا كبير وقرر الكلب الحاق به.
And this is real story that happened.
تعطلت الدراجة وإذا بمحمد يجري مسرعا.
أين محمد؟ سوف نتأخر على الامتحان.
محمد هناك، لماذا يجري؟
هجم الكلب.
محمد ما بك؟ هل لديك هاتف؟
دعني أتحقق. إسعاف! إسعاف!
جاء الإسعاف لإنقاذ محمد.
السلام عليكم أم محمد، أنا الدكتور يوسف. أريد أن أخبرك أن محمد كان في حالة سيئة، لكن الحمد لله قد تم إسعافه في الوقت المناسب وتجنب حالة الخطر.
يا إلهي إني آتي حالا.
وبعد مرور شهر يعود محمد إلى المدرسة. يدخل محمد إلى الفصل.
السلام عليكم يا محمد، أتمنى أنك أفضل الآن.
نعم إني أفضل الآن الحمد لله. شكرا يا أستاذ.
محمد، لقد قضيت وقتا طويلا في المستشفى وإنك الآن متأخر عن الدراسة، لكن لا تقلق، سوف أساعدك.
حسنا يا أستاذ، أعطني المواضيع لكي أراجعها.
أخشى أنه سيكون كثير لتغطيته، لكن لا تقلق، خذها خطوة بخطوة.
يا أستاذ، سوف أحاول أن أراجع كل شيء.
يوم الامتحانات التجريبية، راجعت يا محمد؟ هل أنت مستعد للامتحان؟
المراجعة يا أستاذ، لكن لم أستطع، المواضيع كثيرة.
تقلق يا محمد، أبذل قصارى جهدك. امتحان اللغة العربية،
لا أعرف الإجابات.
وبعد الامتحان.
أهلا يا أستاذ، هل لديك أي نصائح لتحسين درجاتي؟
حاول إعادة الامتحانات التي تجد فيها صعوبة.
حسنا يا أستاذ، سوف أعمل بنصائحك وإن شاء الله ستتحسن درجاتي.
فشل محمد بالامتحان التجريبي الأول. هل أنت مستعد للامتحان الآخر؟
نعم يا أستاذ.
بسم الله. الامتحان التجريبي الثاني، لديكم من الزمن ساعة ونصف. لم يصدق الأستاذ النتيجة التي حصل عليها محمد، وكان يظنه أحد الراسبين هذا العام. وجد اسم محمد بين الطلاب الناجحين بتميز، وبعد ذلك قال الأستاذ: من جد وجد، ومن سار على الدرب وصل.
If you can only leave it so they can see the pictures of the child when he was young. So his parents, that's what I say, it involves the parents. She shared his picture when he was young and he got beaten by the...
Oh, I'm sorry. Shoot. Okay. Let me go back. Okay. And where, sorry, where is that, Fatima? Is that in the right?
At the end. At the end, yes.
Okay.
So I want them to see that parents got involved and he got, yeah. I think, leave it here. No. Go back. Go back.
Okay.
I want to see the real picture of, I'm not sure now.
Okay.
This is the blooper. Okay. Go. Yeah, stop it. This is their work. This is they're showing what they have done. Here, him.
This is him. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This is the dog when he got the hope, he got better, he started to like dog, and that's it. Okay, so we can move on now. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll move on.
And they said how Lawhat Ali Omar Miss has helped them to go beyond and link their personal, and they showed all their work. Now, we have got this piece of art, and what I have prepared that you create your own poster in 5 minutes. I don't know if you have got enough time. Then I can share with you what the students did when they looked at this piece of art, or we can share with each other what do you think when you see that, and how can you use it as a way of teaching. So the question is, create your own poster around. For me, I was thinking of environmental issues, using inspiration from this painting. So I don't know if you have got the time to look at it and link it to the environmental issues, knowing that this, can you see the writing inside? Yeah, if you can point at it. Yeah, this little writing inside the lawha, this says قال الشاعر لك الخير. It's written here on the right hand side in the pink box. It says لك الخير ثم لم نفسا عليك. Why is it blurry? Okay, لك الخير لم نفسا عليك ذنوبها ودع لوم نفس ما عليك تلوم وكيف ترى في عين أخيك في عينيك القذى ويخفى قذى عينك وهو عظيم. I think it's a little bit blurry. So can you think of
ده بيت شعر
البيت الشعري. No, look at the art, piece of art, and it doesn't have to be on an environmental issue, but if you want to do it on any link it to any way, try to think how to use this art. But and you have got the Beit Sha'ri, so how would you use it? How would you approach it and explore it and creating? So what can you create from that? Let us imagine you have done the approaching, exploring, and now what can you create from this piece of art? Looking at what we have done before.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah, I actually really into create a story about it. It looks like a boat somehow in the sea, and we can start from here. Two people, they have a fight, you know, something like that.
Amazing. I love this idea of a boat.
Yeah.
And two people having a fight.
Yeah, for example, or disagreement.
That could be the starting. And how you would link لك الخير ثم لم نفسا عليك ذنوبها. The idea is لا تقول ما لا تفعل. That's what it is. لم نفسا عليك ذنوبها ودع لوم نفس ما عليك تلوم. وكيف ترى في عين صاحبك القذى ويخفى قذى عينك وهو عظيم. وهذا تعرفون بأن أترى القذى في عين أخيك حديث للرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. كيف ترى عيب أخيك وتنسى عيبك. So how can we create something out of it? I love the boat, disagreement. Everything is accepted, by the way. There is no right or wrong. Anyone else?
Okay.
When you mentioned environmental issues, I thought of the ba as gold maybe, and gold mining. Maybe student could do a project learning about how they mine the gold, استخراج الذهب وتأثيره على الناس ممكن بالناحية social economic status.
ممتاز، ولا فكرت فيها هذه. رائع رائع.
أنا
تفضل.
برضو في البداية لما حضرتك اتكلمتي عن الحاجات في البيئة أو في المحيط مع الألوان، كلها ألوان واضحة وجميلة ومتداخلة، فمباشرة جه لذهني الربيع وألوان الربيع وحالة الناس ومشاعرهم في الوقت ده ويعني مش عارفة ممكن يتكلموا عن حاجة زي كده.
ممتاز.
كل حاجة بتبقى في أبهى صورة، الجو جميل، النباتات والزهور والأشجار الكتير والمختلفة، والناس بتبتدي تزيد في الأنشطة بتاعتها أكتر، فممكن كده.
رائع رائع.
ولما سمعت الكلمات اللي مكتوبة في بيت شعري لا تنهي عن شيء وتأتي مثله عار عليك إذا فعلت عظيم، فممكن ده يكون مكتوب جنب الصورة ونحاول نربط ما بين الاتنين والطالب يبتدي يتكلم عنها يعني.
ممتاز ممتاز. Remember there's no right or wrong. That's amazing. So this is your personal story. And the talib will bring his own personal perspective. Remember, it's not your story that the talib will do.
Yeah, okay.
So this is you. This is you talking about your personal thinking. And كل واحد ممكن يجيب لك شيء متميز. Anyone else?
أنا بالنسبة لي يحضرني صورة الباء الجالس على النقطة ويذكرني بلعبة نوعا ما، أو في السيرك، كأنه الباء يعني جالس أو قاعد على حافة النقطة المثلث.
نعم.
كأنما هناك يعني إحياز أو اندفاع اللي عمل ميزان أو بالانس حتى لا يقع يعني جانب الباء على السايد، على الأطراف الأيمن أو على الطرف الأيمن أو الأيسر. فالإنسان يعني بطبيعته عليه أن يعني يعمل بشكل مستقيم ويعمل على يعني إقامة علاقته مع حوله بشكل يعني متوسط، أو يعمل بالانس في علاقاته أو في تفكيره حتى، أو لنقل يعني صورة أخرى، يعني خير الأمور أوسطه، لأنه يعني إنه الباء جالس على النقطة والنقطة في النص. ما أعرف يعني شوية
ممتاز. بالعكس
crazy but
no there is no craziness at all. بالعكس والله you're talking about التوازن في الحياة which is amazing.
التوازن بالضبط.
I would have
في الحياة.
pushed my students amazing. This is great starting point. We're talking about توازن. ألا تقول ما لا تفعل. أنك كل شيء رائع. بالعكس رائع. I really appreciate this new knowledge that you gave me, and because it was from you that helped us to see how much each learner can bring to the table of knowledge. Okay, I will share with you how my student looked at it. If we can move on, please. So, it's called باء عيون الأخبار. Responding to the artwork includes poetry. The students, if we can move on, please, taking responsibility. They looked at the title of taking responsibility. So Yusra, this is one of my students, she drew a باء عيون الأخبار, and the time she looked at it, she said, the باء reminds me of my planets. The planets in its perfect shape. It's gold, it's nice, it's beautiful, but the surrounding of it has got this messy painting. This is what is happening in our planet. Our planet is dying. And she referenced this when we did the poem, she referred it to the Quran as well. لما تقولون ما لا تفعلون. And she started to think to create her own poster with her story. Can we move on, please? So this is the poster of you. It's Anfal. This is Anfal's poster, who links it to the earth. You can see that Anfal here, a piece of art, combined painting and the text. Here she has written her own poetry, because we didn't have time to. I had to ask the student to make their own poetry, which is linked to their own story, and translating it into English. So Anfal has drew the ba, which has got the blood, as you can see. She mentioned the earth crying, symbolized the ba as an earth. The girl who is on the right symbolized the poverty, and she explained it in a way, the guns, what is happening in our world, and she had support from her parents. Then her work got seen by her mainstream schools, and the art teachers got inspired by what she did, and he gave her a higher mark because she was doing arts in her English school, mainstream school, and her work got shared with all the students because it has got her language, and that boosted her confidence. And since then, she started to see her Arabic language as something that she should be proud of. And that's what we want our heritage learners to feel. They have to feel proud of their identity and proud of their language. So if we can move on, please. And she added, of course, this is Yusra's work. She drew a hand which symbolized the human being and what they are doing to the earth. She drew the bear in a golden bear, which means that's the best way that the earth is in, and the earth is inside. But all what is outside the bear is a mess. This is what the earth is suffering from: pollution, killing, war. And here, because it's not about art only, remember, it's about building this linguistic skill. Here, she wrote her own poem in relation to تقولون ما لا تفعلون, making the earth speaking, the earth talking, the earth saying to the human being, لماذا تقولون ما لا تفعلون؟ لماذا الحروب؟ لماذا تقتلونني؟ لماذا تدمرونني؟ لماذا؟ And she wrote her own poetry. And here you can see she mentioned Ali Omar Mis as her stimulus of her idea. So there is a developing of visual art and language and appreciation of culture and emotions, which I've mentioned before. If we can move on, please. Okay, here the student, as I said, Nora has asked me before, in terms of the vocabulary, in terms, the student, what we call a constructive approach of knowledge. They construct the knowledge from their stories. So each student at the end of the project, they accumulate all the vocabulary that is linked to their stories, that is linked to their emotion, that is linked to their analysis, and they build it and they make a poster and they get judged by each other. They assess each other's work. If we can move on, please. So here is their film. Of course, as I said, students write stories, then they vote on a film that should be taken in the process of the creativity. They do a storyboard, they do a script, and they create their script and they start shooting the films, and they choose the plays, they do all that. So that process of them being involved, of them collaborating, of them leading the session, makes them feel it's their production. So they don't need me at this stage, they don't need me a lot. They need me only a little bit, maybe translating, maybe pronouncing the sentences, but they will be leading it. I'll be only observing and guiding. So if we can share a bit of the film, please. Of course, if
كانت هناك فتاة تحلم بالسعادة والاستقرار، ولكن لاحظت أن الواقع عكس ما كانت تحلم. فالعالم مليء بالفساد، الحروب، الفقر، وتدمير الطبيعة. هذه هي قصتها.
هناك خبر عاجل، هل سمعتم به؟ خبر عاجل؟ ما هو؟ هل تعلموا أن التغيير المناخي أو الاحتباس الحراري سبب الكثير من المشاكل في كوكبنا الأرض؟ يا إلهي، يجب أن نعمل شيء، كوكبنا في خطر. تعالوا إلى بيتي لنتحدث عن هذه المعضلة.
كل البنات خائفات. لينا تشعر بالقلق على مشاكل العالم الذي لا يوجد لديه حلول.
لماذا لا نتعاون ونجد حلول للمشكلة؟ ولكن يوجد مشاكل كثيرة وكذلك كبيرة ولن نستطيع حلها لوحدنا. إذا تعاوننا أكيد نستطيع. مشاكل التلوث وانقراض الحيوانات؟ معكم حق، يجب أن نفعل شيء لتنبيه الأشخاص ولننشر الوعي.
يا بناتي، يجب أن نفهم أن هذا النوع من المشاكل موجود منذ قرون. يجب أن نكون هادئين. ممكن أن نوجد حل. تعالوا غدا.
I think yes, if we can stop here. So the idea, the student will come and they will see the work of Ali Omar Mis that has got that has got their work, and they start to discuss what do they do. So now the students are thinking of solutions, and it finishes with them going to House of Parliament and sharing things, doing a Twitter account that spread the knowledge of the importance of helping Mother Earth. So this is, you can maybe, I don't know, you can only skip a little bit. So let them see the, yeah, a bit. Yeah, this is, okay, if we can stop here to show their work. So they're sharing their work.
صار لينا ودانيا تأثرنا باللوحة وأردنا أن يجدنا طريقة للمساعدة.
Yeah, okay, so you can see here all the different works because I didn't have time to share it, and they start to think of how they can do to Mother Earth. So that's an example. I think you got the idea. If we can move on, because the time is going. So the implication of this approach, it's fostered the learning agency. There is a creative thinking, and the student have a voice, which is very important. The teacher is not a central teacher learning anymore. It's a student-centered learning, and it develops appreciation of heritage culture. It is bilingually, and it gives a positive identity. It's unlock the emotional multisensory of the learners, and it develop understanding of multimodal design and intertextuality. I will share with you what the student thought of this approach. This is a short, I don't know how long it is, but if you can share a little bit of it, if you can, yeah. I think we can move a little bit this part where the students send questionnaires. Okay, this is them talking about what is multilingual digital storytelling. Yeah, yes, here.
Multilingual digital storytelling is a teaching approach to use to learn languages via the use of digital media. We as students are asked to research themes, create personal stories, poems, and produce films based on the stories created. القصة الرقمية ساعدتنا عن تطوير مهارات مختلفة لتعلم اللغة العربية. تعلمنا أيضا كيفية كتابة القصص والقصائد وكيف نربطها بحياتنا.
أحد أهم الأشياء في القصة الرقمية هي
teamwork العمل الجماعي.
Teamwork and working independently.
في العمل الجماعي حصلت على معلومات لم أعرفها من قبل، وهذا بفضل زملائي في المجموعة.
وأن أبني علاقة متينة مع الفريق.
Also, التفكير خارج الصندوق.
Thinking on the spot or problem solving.
Creativity إبداع.
التعاون. التفكير البداعي. التفكير مرة أخرى وتحمل المسؤولية.
الMDST ساعدني أن أبني ثقتي بالنفس.
It built me self-confidence.
الثقة بنفسي.
أيضا
Extent in my Arabic learning.
تحسنت لغتي العربية ولهجتي.
It's helped me also do research, planning, and acting.
الثقة بالنفس والتفكير خارج الصندوق والعمل الجماعي هم الأشياء التي تحسنت فيهم.
MDST has helped me a lot throughout the year, from editing, communicating, interacting, homework, filming, everything.
القصة الرقمية تمنح الطالب التعبير عن الرأي وتوصيل رسالة إلى المشاهدين.
I really enjoyed MDST throughout the term. I would definitely do it again.
Okay, thank you. This is the evaluation from the students. if we can, I think this is our last reflection. So my question to you, what have you learned and how will you take it further? That's something which I will be really interested to hear.
Yes. I can share.
Yeah,
yes, I have learned another strategy or method to encourage students to use dialogic and more authentic speaking rather than just repeating, as you said, after the teacher. So I'm always looking for ways to let students speak in a more authentic and referential way rather than just posing these display questions where you translate stuff and you just copy and stuff like that. So thank you so much. I wish you can share the slides or at least a framework that we can use in our classes if possible.
شكرا نورا حبيبتي. There is a resource pack that it's in the references. You can go to it. By the way, I've started with the resource pack, then I finished the resource pack, then I started because I got the idea how much students can give me. So I moved, when I finished the SAD, the shed, there were 7 artistic pieces. I moved to the BAT, which I should mention from the beginning that I let the student to choose. It's not me who give them the art piece. Every time I give them 7 or 5 or 4, and I ask them to choose, they have to vote of 2 and they work on them. And they say why they have chosen it. So the BAT was something, we went to the gallery of Ali Omar Meis because we finished the art pieces that we have done before, and they chose the BAT for different reasons. So شكرا نورا.
شكرا جزيلا.
عفوا. سوف تجدين الريسورس باك in the references. You can go and you will see the full explanation with the planning, with the scaffolding, and with the activities of each piece of art. Then you can move on. I'm not saying only this type of art. You can move on to any useful pieces of art to use. That's what I'm doing now. أشكرك أستاذ سروان. قال ما شاء الله تقديم رائع وأفكار ممتازة. بارك الله فيك. أي مداخلات أخرى. What have you learned and how will you take it further?
أستاذة فاطمة ممكن أول حاجة؟
تفضل أخ زاهد.
يعني الفكرة زي ما قلت استخدام الفن أو استخدام الصورة المجردة. ده الجديد اللي انا اتعلمته النهارده. زي ما قلت انا بستخدم صور كتيره جدا من خصوصا في المستوى النوفيس والمستوى المتوسط اللي هو الانترميديت لو. بس بعد كده في السنه الثالثه لما بنشتغل على الانترميديت هاي والادفانسد عاده بيكون في موضوع للنقاش، اسئله. فكرت احيانا ان انا استخدم بعض الصور المجرده واحاول يعني اداعب خيال الطلاب او يعني احاول استثير فيهم بعض الانطباعات او الاحاسيس او التعبير، لكن ما كانش عندي خطة أو استراتيجية أو خطوات. فأنا النهاردة اتعلمت ده، أو بقى أصبح عندي قاعدة ممكن أنطلق منها كمان. نعم. فده أحسن حاجة. فأنا مبسوط جدا. شكرا جزيلا. بارك الله في حضرتك. يعني
بالعكس إذا تريد أنت في حتى ورشة عملتها مع إحدى زميلاتي في UK وسجلت هذه الورشة عن طريق فيديوز. You can see all the videos that it's like a professional development workshop.
طب فين ممكن نلاقي ده حضرتك؟
نعم؟
فين ممكن نلاقي ده؟ يعني فين ممكن نشوف الفيديو دي؟
موجودة في الريفرنسز اللي بعتها اللي عندك. ففقط تذهب على الريفرنس، فيه ريفرنس للكتاب، ريفرنس للورشة، ريفرنس للبلانينج، ريفرنس لمفهوم السكافولدينج وكيف هي الاستراتيجي اوف البيداغوجي اوف ذس ابروتش، كيف انك تجعل الطالب هو الاكتيف، هو الفويس، صوته هو الذي يمركز على التعليم. يعني موجودة في الريفرنسز ان شاء الله.
يعني بصراحة أنا طبعا مع زهاد ومع كل الزملاء، الورشة رائعة جدا، أفكار جديدة، منطلقات ممكن تبقى مفيدة جدا جدا بالنسبة لنا، يمكن في زي ما قال زياد في المستويات العليا. وجميل إن هي ظهرت في أكتر من مهارة، إنهم اتكلموا، إنهم عملوا فيديو، إنهم كتبوا. بصراحة يعني يمكن في النص التاني كمان من الورشة كانت الرؤية أوضح. يعني يمكن احنا
فعلا.
اتكلمنا في البريك،
نعم.
كنت حاسة إن في يعني شيء من التشتت، أو أنا لسه الصورة مش واضحة قدامي، بس دلوقتي بصراحة ممتاز. ويا ريت تاني يعني مش تبقى دي وبس. يعني أكون سعيدة جدا لو حصل اللقاءات دي تاني، والورش دي شيء رائع جدا فعلا. شكرا ليكي يا أستاذة فاطمة جدا 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 يعني.
العفو، شكرا حبيبتي هدى. أنا اللي أشكركم على تعاونكم وعلى مداخلاتكم، وفعلا تعلمت أشياء جديدة. إن شاء الله أي أشياء. أنا الآن بشتغل في لوحة أخرى مع طلاب الذين اختاروها هم من الجاليري، وفيها إبداعات عجيبة صراحة، ممكن نشارككم فيها إن شاء الله تعالى، متعلقة بحياتهم بالكوفيد ومن فقدت والدها، واللوحة ساعدتها على ذلك، وعملوا فيلم على فقدان الوالد.
طب ممكن بس سؤال يعني برضو دلوقتي لسه جاي في ذهني، بما ان حضرتك بتقولي انكم هتشتغلوا على لوحة تانية، انتوا بتعملوها على هيئة بروجكتس، يعني بيبقى مشروع، والمشروع ده
نعم.
ليه وقت معين او عدد ساعات دراسية معينة؟ فممكن لو حضرتك تدينا فكرة ده بيتم في وقت قد ايه مثلا، او بيبقى متوقع؟
سؤال في منتهى الأهمية فعلا. هو البروجكت، لأنه it's called project based learning. البروجكت بيس ليرنينج يندرج تحته في هذه المرحلة التي أقوم بها اللوحة فنية. أقوم بتدريس الطلاب 90 دقيقة، ساعة أيوة 90 دقيقة، ساعة ونص كل يوم سبت. المرحلة التمهيدية تأخذ مني حوالي 3 أسابيع، اللي هي الابروتشنج. الاكسبلورينج تأخذ مني حوالي 3 إلى 4 أسابيع، لأننا ندخل في البيت الشعري نفهمه، ثم يبدأ الطالب يكتب أبيات شعرية متعلقة به. المرحلة الكرييتنج اللي هي البوسترز تأخذ منا كل البروجكت تأخذ مني حوالي 13 أسبوع. المرحلة
سمستر تقريبا، يعني فصل دراسي.
نعم، لأن لما ينجز اللوحات يشاركها الطلاب، يتعلموا من بعض، ثم يبدأون يختارون القصة، لأن اللوحات فيها قصص، ويختارون القصة، والقصة بعدين اللي يختاروها هي اللي تتحول لفيلم. فكتابة القصة المصورة اللي هي ستوري بورد تأخذ أسبوع واحد، ثم سكريبت اللي هي المشاهد. وأريد أن أضيف شيء، أن العملية التعليمية لا تتوقف الفصل فقط، يعني الطلاب عندهم واتساب جروب، وأنا معهم على مدار الأسبوع نعطيهم تاسك، على أساس لما يبدوا في كتابة القصة وكتابة المشاهد، راهم خلال الأسبوع يتناقشون ماذا سوف نعمل في المشهد، ما هو المشهد الذي سيقام، من الذي سوف يمثل المشهد، وأثناء الحصة يطبقون ويشاركون الفصل. فالأسابيع الأخيرة ال4 تأخذ أسبوعين هذا rehearsing، وبعدين filming، وبعدين الإيديتينج يقام في البيت. يعني الطلاب يعملون الإيديتينج ويتناقشون خارج الفصل، وبالتالي تكون فصل كامل، يعني زي مثل ما قلتي أسابيع تغطي فصل كامل، هي 13 أسبوع هكذا. The non-heritage speakers, this is very good. When I say the non-heritage speakers, you mean the foreign language speakers, Nora?
Yes. What do they do? Yeah.
Okay. أنا بدرس الهيريتج سبيكرز بما فيهم الناطقين وغير الناطقين. فنحن نعتبر الذين لا يتكلمون اللغة العربية لكن عندهم ربط باللغة العربية من ناحية القرآن ما زالوا هيريتج، لأن يعرفون يقروا ويعرفون الثقافة الإسلامية، فيندرجون تحت الهيريتج. فهنا ليس لديهم لغة، بالتالي هم يستخدمون، هؤلاء الطلاب يبدأون بالإنجليزي ويترجمون إلى العربي، أساعدهم بهذه الطريقة. فلا بد أن نبني ثقتهم. إذا عندهم اللغة يبدأون باللغة التي هي قوية عندهم، يكتبون بالإنجليزي القصة ثم يبدأون في ترجمتها. ستوري بورد يعملوها مرات مع بعض، يكتبون أشياء بالإنجليزي ثم نترجمها، وهكذا تتدرج العملية التعليمية من جهة نقطة القوة إلى النقطة الثانية وهي اللغة التي يريدون أن يتعلمونها. Do they join the project or is it only for heritage?
هو تكملة السؤال كان يعني أجبتي عليه. شكرا.
نعم. رأيت بأن الطالب كان فيه الذين ذكروا ريفلكت تاعهم كان فيه ماليزيين كانوا جزء من الفيلم. they said it helped them to progress in the language لأنه يتحولون من الترجمة ويتعلمون من الناطقين باللغة العربية، رغم أن أقول الناطقين لكن حتى الناطقين عندهم صعوبة في المحادثة. أنتم تعرفون الهيريتج الموجودين في الدول يعني الإنجليزية عندهم صعوبة في المحادثة، لابد أن تساعدهم في النطق إلى غير ذلك. والإنترميديت قد يكتبون نوعا ما جيد لكن لا ينطقون، ليس لهم طلاقة في التحدث. فهذه العملية والفيلم تساعدهم أن يبني ثقتهم في التحدث أيضا، في أشياء هم أبدعوها، هم أنجزوها يعني.
جميل، يعطيك العافية.
الله يعافيك حبيبتي.
ممكن شارك؟
نعم تفضل.
ما شاء الله عليك أستاذة فاطمة، بارك الله فيك. فعلا أنا يعني جدا استفدت من التقديم ومن خبرتك. بصراحة يعني أعطتني هذا يعني أفكار جديدة وبحيث أنه الآن أنه أنا بصدد كتابة يعني بلان لمساق معين. فهل بالإمكان في أي مساق بالإمكان طرح هذه أو النشاطات، يعني خصوصا هذا النشاط يعني اللي حضرتك يعني قدمتي، هل إنه بالإمكان تقديمه في درس أو مساق ثقافي؟ يعني أنا مثلا قبل مدة طلب مني إعداد خطة معينة لتدريس السبجكت مثلا، فبصراحة يعني هذه كانت تنقصها هذه يعني المادة. يعني أشوفها أنه جدا يعني ممتازة، باعتبار أنها يعني هناك تلاقح بين، أشوفها أنه هناك تلاقح بين اللغة وكذلك الثقافة. فهل بالإمكان يعني أنه يعني الدرس أو تقديم هذه المادة في درس أو في مساق يعني مستقل بحد ذاته، باعتبار أنه مثلا يعني نقسم مثلا كل مادة كل درس بناء على حرف معين؟ لاحظتي أنه وهذا هو يعني ملاحظي أو خلينا نقول مثلا سؤال، لأنه أشوفها أنه هذا من جانب ثاني أنه هذا طبعا مفيد جدا لطلاب هيريتج، ولكن ماذا يخص أو الذي يخص الطلاب نون هيريتج يعني foreign learners. يعني إذا أنا مثلا أفرض نفسي خلينا نقول أريد أتعلم اللغة الصينية، بالنسبة لي الحروف يعني الفيجرز الصينية مثلا كلها أشكال ويعني الصور مثلا كأنها تمثل لي شجرة. يعني من هذا المنطلق بإمكاني مثلا أنه أن أرتبط أو أعمل على خلق رابط بين المفاهيم الثقافية وكذلك الحروف. فهل هناك مثلا مخرج أو هل هناك يعني output خلينا نقول foreign learners؟ ليس كذلك طبعا، هذا مثل ما حضرتك يعني شرحتي انه هذا جدا مفيد واكيد انه بالنسبه للهيريتج ستودنتس، ولكن ما حظ طلاب يعني foreign learners للاستفاده من هذه هذا المساق خصوصا؟
والله سؤالك وجيه فعلا، وأنا يعني في صدد أنني أقدم طلب funding بحيث أطبق هذه الطريقة لل foreign language. I did mention this before, that I felt that this way it can help foreign language, but because I don't have I didn't implement it, and I want to implement it, and I want to see, this approach of learning, you learn with your students. This is why I'm presenting this, because I am confident that
العفو يعني عفوا للمقاطعة. يعني احنا درسنا طلاب، مثل انا يعني شخصيا درست طلاب، كنت في امريكا درست طلاب، فمرات اشوف انه الطالب يعمل على خلق رابط بين شكل الكلمة والمعنى. مثلا كنا مثلا ما هو مذكور في الكتاب، انه الكتاب لاحظوا حرف الالف انه مثلا يمثل رقم واحد، بينما التكسير حتى يميز الطالب بين المفرد والجمع التكسيري اللي هو كتب. فأشوفها إنه أيضا بالإمكان يعني استثمار هذه الفكرة يعني فائدة طلاب foreign learners.
Yes, I believe that it can help a lot foreign language learners, and I want to see examples. If you can like go and implement it, I want to implement it, but I didn't do it. So that's why I'm saying that I'm trying to implement it on foreign language learners and show them that the culture and language has to be together. But I cannot give you like a solid response because I haven't implemented it on the foreign language learners. But it would be great if you could do something and share with us, or we get
يعني مثلا على سبيل
إجابة صريحة.
كان لي موقف يوم، يعني كان هناك طالبة يعني ما كانت تستطيع فهم أو يعني استيعاب يعني كتابة أو التمييز بين الكتابة حرف العين على سبيل المثال. كنا مثلا أبذل يعني قصارى جهدي أن أترجم لها ويعني أميز، يعني أشرح لها كيف إنه إحنا نكتب حرف العين. وفي الأخير مثلت لها إنه جبت لها يعني مثال، قلت لها إنه أنت شايفة فيلم the movie Captain Hook.
Yes.
Captain Hook.
That's great.
فكابتن هوك اللي عنده هوك يعني هذا القالع مثلا، فيشبه تماما حرف العين الكتاب يعني أخيرا. فكانت يعني الطالبة بدأت بتحسن نوعا ما، فيعني اوكي that makes sense يعني نوعا ما. فاشوفها انه هذه الطريقه يعني انه باعتبار احنا personifying مثلا letters in some way يعني really makes sense to our foreign learners.
You can ask them, what does it make you think of, and let her think, let her get from her knowledge, from her culture, what does it make her think of, and you will be surprised. You will be surprised how much they bring. This is amazing. Wallah, this is really amazing. I learned a lot as well today. I think the time has passed, and I really enjoyed being with you, everyone. And thank you so much for all your input. And
thank you, Fatima. Thank you so much. This was just wonderful. This was just an amazing presentation. And thank you all for attending and for your contributions. It was good for me. I got some practice with my Arabic. That was great. So
that's great.
That was really good. I got a good bit, not everything, but
that's great.
Just wanted to say, I mentioned in the chat, I will send the resources to the list of everybody who signed up. Of course, not everyone who signed up was able to come, but we'll watch the video later. I'll send the video as well, a link to that. And there was also a question in the chat about keeping in touch as a group. So when I send everything out, I will, ask about that. And if there are those of you who would like to continue to keep in touch, we could start, a group, an email group or something like that. So that was great.
I would be delighted, because I would love to see if you have implemented it, how much you have got from this approach, and I will share what I'm doing. And it'll be like, if you have any questions, we will help each other to help our learners, either heritage or foreign language learners, how to build this understanding of constructions of knowledge, which is the opposite way of a textbook approach.
Okay. All right.
I'd love to. All right.
Right.
Thank
All right.
you. Thank you so
again.
much.
مع السلامة. يعطيك العافية. Bye.
الله يعافيكم. سلام. مع السلامة.
باي باي. مع السلامة.
Bye.
مع السلامة. باي باي.